Hello everyone, welcome to Srinivas Edupoint. If you are preparing for SSC, railways, or any other government exams and feel maths is difficult, then this channel is for you. In this channel, I am going to teach maths from the very basic level to the very advanced level. In this channel, I am going to teach you each and every concept with exam oriented approaches that would help you in solving in a better way so that it could save your time in the examinations. In the previous class, we have discussed about basics of percentage and we have solved a very basic problems on the discussed topic. In today's class, we are going to discuss about successive percentage change. And we are also going to solve some problems which were asked in previous year in SSC examinations as well as railway examinations. So coming to today's video, in this video, we are going to talk about successive percentage change. What is successive percentage change? Before knowing what is successive percentage change, I would like to say what is percentage change. What is percentage change? In mathematical terms, percentage change is written as ratio of change upon initial value multiplied with 100. This is what percentage change is defined in the mathematical terms. So, let us suppose if I have 100 rupees and I spent 20 rupees out of it and I was left with 80 rupees. Over a period of time, I spent 20 rupees, right? What is the change in value? It is 20 rupees. Upon initial value, what is my initial value? It is 100. So in order to convert this ratio into percentage, I am multiplying with 100. So the percentage change is 20%. That is decreased. Okay. So the percentage change can be defined as change over a physical quantity over a period of time upon its initial value multiplied with 100. So this is what percentage change is. So what is successive percentage change? Successive percentage change can be defined as the change that occurred more than 2 times, more than or equal to on a quantity, and the change is occurred consecutively. Then we can define that change to be successive percentage change. So here I have given the formula for the successive percentage change. Look at here. If an amount is increased by A% and then it is increased by B%, then the percentage change would be increased by A plus B plus AB upon 100%. So let us consider an example. If I have 100 rupees and I have given it on interest and it would fetch 10 rupees for 1 year. So 1 year 10 rupees. So I would be left with 110 rupees after 1 year. And later I again gave that 110 rupees on interest for another year and it fetched me 20 rupees as an interest. So the final amount would be 130 rupees. So what is the percentage change? The net percentage change can be defined as the change in its initial and final value, that is 30 upon in its initial value 100 into 100. So the change is 30%. So this is what successive percentage change means. I will derive the formula for you in the next slide, guys. Look at this. Let me suppose I have 100 rupees. In first year, I have given it for 10% interest and it fetched me 10 rupees as interest and I was amounted to 110 rupees. And in the second consecutive year, in the second year, I gave it on 20% interest and it fetched me 22 rupees as interest. So that would amount to 132 rupees. So what is the percentage change is 32 rupees upon 100 into 100. So the percentage change is 32% increase. So my initial value is increased by 32%. This is what successive percentage means. In the previous slide, I had given you that percentage change when the quantity is increased by A% and then it is further increased by B% is given as A plus B plus AB upon 100. So consider the same example, guys. I have 100 rupees. I lent the amount at 10% per annum interest and it fetched me 10 rupees as interest and it amounted to 110. This 110 can be written as 100 plus 10. And again this 110 amount is again lent out on 20% interest for the second year and it fetched me 22 rupees as interest. So that would amount to 100 plus 10 and 20% of 100 is 20 and again 20% on this 10 is 2. So 100 plus 10 plus 20 plus 2. Overall it would give me 132 rupees. So the formula A plus B plus AB by 100 came after this division. This is A percent, this is B percent and this is A into B upon 100. So the value of A is 10, the value of B is 20 and the value of A into B, that is 10 into 20 upon 100. So 21s, 25s, 5 1s, 5 2s. So the resultant value would be 32%. As both A and B are increased, so the resultant value would be positive. That means an increase of 32% on the initial value. I hope everyone is clear with this concept. We have 4 types of formula on this. The first formula is if a quantity is increased by A% and again it is increased by B%, the formula is A plus B plus AB upon 100. The second formula is if a quantity is increased by A% and then further it is decreased by B%, the formula would be as it was decreased, I am going to represent it as minus B. So the formula would be A minus B plus A into minus B upon 100. That is equals to A minus B plus, minus AB upon 100. And the third formula goes like this. If a quantity is decreased by A% and further it is decreased by B%, then the formula would be minus A minus B plus AB upon 100. If the resultant value in these both cases, if the resultant value is positive, then the net percentage value would be increased. And if the resultant value is negative, then the net percentage value would be decreased. And we have one more formula, guys. Fourth one. If if a quantity is decreased by A% and further increased by B%, the formula would be minus A plus B minus AB upon 100. So this applies for the same concept as well. If the resultant value is positive, then the net percentage would be increased. And if the resultant value is negative, then the net percentage value would be decreased. So all these 3 formulas were derived from the basic formula A plus B plus AB upon 100 with the change of its signs according to the condition. I hope everyone is clear with this concept. On this concept, we are going to solve the previously asked questions in SSC as well as railway exams. Let's go to the first question. Here it says a number is increased by 10% and then the increased number is decreased by 10%. The net increase or decrease is. So in today's session, whenever the options were asked in the percentage, I would take my initial value to be 100 as it eases the calculation. And if the options were given to find the value of a particular thing, then I would assume that my initial value to be 100x. So this is when the options were given in percentage. This is when options were given to find a particular value. So I am going with this way. So here the options are given in the percentage. So I would take my initial value to be 100. So 100 is a number. It was increased by 10% initially. So if it is increased by 10%, 10% of 100 would be 10, and the final value would be 110 when it is increased by 10%. And further, it is decreased by 10%. What is 10% of, sorry, it is decreased by 10%, right? What is 10% of 110? 10% of 110 is 11. As it is decreased, I am going to give it a negative sign. So 110 minus 11 would fetch me 99. What is the percentage change? Percentage change is 1 upon 100 into 100. So there would be, so it is minus 1, guys. So there would be a decrease of 1%. This option B. Here we have a formula for this. Note it down, guys. If a value is increased by a% and further it is decreased by a%, then the net percentage change is decreased by a square by 100%. This is the formula, guys. Note it down. This is a very important formula that we are going to use in today's session as well as in our examinations when we found a question on this topic. So this is how we solve it conceptually, guys. So now I am going to apply this formula to the same question. Look at this question. A number is increased by 10%, that is A, and then it is decreased by 10%, and it is also A%. So the net increase or decreases. Obviously it is going to decrease as the formula suggests. So A square by 100. What is A square? 10 square, that is 10 into 10 upon 100. That would fetch me 1. As it says decrease, so there would be a decrease of 1%. That is option B. You can solve it by this way or by this way. It's up to you, guys. Let's go to the next question. Two successive prices of increase of 10% and 10% of an article are equivalent to a single price increase of. So as we discussed earlier, if a quantity is increased by a% and then it is increased by b%, then the net percentage change can be given as a plus b plus ab upon 100. Here the value of a and b are equal. So the value of a is 10% as well as the value of b is 10%. So 10 plus 10 plus 10 into 10 upon 100. This would cancel and give me 1. So the resultant value is 21% as it is positive value. So I would say the resultant value, the net percentage is increased by 21%. This is how we solve by applying formula, guys. Let me suppose this to be method 1. Look at this another method, guys. This is method 2. As I said, the options are in the percentage values. I would take my initial value to be 100. It is first increased by 10%, that is 10 rupees. it would fetch me 110 rupees. And in the second year, it is again increased by 10%, and 10% of 110 would be 11. So 110 plus 11 gives me 121. So the net percentage change is 21 upon 100 into 100. That is equals to 21%. In the both cases, we will get the same value, that is 21% to be increased on initial value. This formula method is only applicable when the successive percentage change is given 2 times. This would fail when the successive percentage change is more than 2 times. But we can also use this formula in some other way, but it would be time consuming process. So I would suggest when there is a successive percentage increase or decrease for more than 2 times, I would suggest you to go with this method too. This would be easy, and it also reduces time in calculations. Let's go to next question. If a car's price is increased by 15% and then decreased by 10%, what is the net percentage change in the price of car? So obviously method 1 is going to be formula based, and method 2 is going to be theoretically. So look at method 1, guys. Here the value of A is plus 15% and the value of B is minus 10%. So the formula says A plus B plus AB upon 100. The value of A is 15 and the value of B is minus 10, and the value of A is 15 into minus 10 upon 100. So this gives me 5 minus 10 ones, 10 tens, 5 minus 1.5. That would fetch me 3.5%. So as the resultant value is positive, I can say that the net percentage change is 3.5% increase. So it would be option D. Look at the same problem in another way, guys. I suppose my initial value to be 100. It is increased by 15% at first. 15% of 100 would be 15, and that would give me 115. And later it was decreased by 10%. So 10% of 115 would be 11.5. 15 minus 11.5 gives me 103.5. So the change is 3.5 upon initial value 100 into 100. That gives me 3.5 increase, 3.5% increase. I hope everyone is clear with both the methods. Let's go to the next question. The initial value of a car is 4 lakhs. The value of car depreciates by 40% each year. What will be its value after 2 years? Here depreciates in the sense the value gets decreased by 40% with each year. So here I was given the initial value. So I am going to take the initial value, that is 4 lakhs. As the value of car is depreciated by 40%, I can say the leftover value would be 60% of initial value. So 60% of initial value would be 2,40,000. Okay, this is in first year. 60% of 4 lakhs. 6 fours are 24, and I was left with 4 zeros. This would be 2,40,000. And in the second year, the value of car again depreciates by 40%, and that would leave me with 60% of its previous value. So the previous value is 2,40,000, and 60% of 2,40,000. 6 into 24 gives me 144 and then 3 zeros. So the 60% of 2,40,000 is 1,44,000. So the final value of car would be 1,44,000. This can also be solved by formula method, guys. Here the value of A and B, both the values of A and B is minus 40%. So minus 40 plus 40 into 40 upon 100. Zeros gets cancelled. 4 4s are 16. Minus 80 plus 16 gives me minus 64%. So if the value of car depreciates by 64%, I would be left with 36%. So in order to find the value of car after 2 years, I would be finding 36% of 4 lakhs. 00 00. 36 into 4 gives me 144 into 1000. 144,000. That would be 1,44,000. I hope everyone is clear with both these methods. This is the way how I solved in theoretical way. This is how I applied formula. Let's go to the next question. The strength of a school increases and decreases in every alternate year by 10%. I am breaking this question till this sentence, guys, and I am going to explain this sentence. Look at here. The strength of a school increases and decreases in every alternate year by 10%. What does this statement mean? If the strength of school in first year gets increased by 10%, in the following year, the strength of school would depreciate by 10%. And later, it again increases by 10%. And later again, it would depreciate by 10%. So this is what the statement 1 means. Let's look at the next part of question. It started with increase in the year 2001. Then the strength of school in 2003 as compared to that of 2000 was. So it is given that it started with an increase in the year 2000. So if I count from 2000 to 2001, the strength increases by 10%. And later from 2001 to 2002, the strength depreciates by 10%. And from 2002 to 2003, the strength again would increase by 10%. And I was asked to find the percentage increase or decrease from the initial value, that is from 2000 to 2003. So as the options were in percentages, I would take my initial value, that is the initial strength of school, to be 100 students. As it was increased by 10% initially, so in 2001 the value would be 100 plus 10, that is 110. And later it was decreased by 10%. So 10% of 110 would be 11. So 110 minus 11 would give me 99. And again it is increased by 10%. So 10% of 99 would be 9.9. As it is increased plus 9.9. So 99 plus 9.9 gives me 108.9. So there is a change of 8.9 upon initial value 100 into 100. 100 gets cancelled. So there is an increase of 8.9% in the strength of school in the 3 years. So 8.9% increase. It is option A. I hope everyone is clear. Let's go to the next question. If the price of a product is decreased by 50% and then increased by 50% and then again increased by 50%, what is increased percentage in the price? So as options are in percentages, I would assume my initial price to be 100. It is initially decreased by 50%. So 50% of 100 would be 50. As it is decreased, I would give minus sign. 100 minus 50 gives me 50. And later it was increased by 50%. 50% of 50 would be 25, and 55 and 50 plus 25 gives me 75. And later it is again increased by 50%. 50% of 75, that is half the value of 75 is 37.5. So 75 plus 37.5 adds to 112.5. So the change is going to be 12.5 upon initial value 100 into 100. So there is an increase of 12.5%. It is option C. I hope you are clear with this question as well. Let's go to the next question. The price of a TV has been reduced by 20%. In order to restore the original price, the new price must be increased by. Okay. Let the price of TV be 100. As it is reduced by 20%, 20% of 100 would be 20, and it is decreased, so I am going to write minus 20. 100 minus 20 would be 80. This is my new value. In order to restore its original value, this is going to be original value. So in order to restore its original value, I would add 20 rupees to my new value, so that it would restore the original value to 100. So as they asked me to find the increased percentage, I have to increase it by 20. Okay. And this 20 must be increased on 80, so that it gives me 100. Listen to it. Listen to this carefully, guys. I have to increase my new value by 20 rupees, and this 20 must be increased on the new value, that is 80, in order to give me 100. So this 20 is increased upon 80, so 80 would be denominator. In order to find percentage, I am multiplying it with 100. 20 ones, 24s, 4 ones, 425. So an increase of 25% would restore the original price. It is going to be option B. I hope everyone is clear with this question. Let's dive into the next one. The price of a tablet is first increased by 10% and then decreased by 2.5% due to reduction in sales. What is the net percentage change in the final price of the tablet? Okay, as the options are in percentage, initial value of the tablet is going to be 100. It was first increased by 10%. 10% of 100 would be 10. That would amount to 110. And later it was decreased by 2.5%. 2.5% of 110. 110 and 2.5 by 1000. 100. That is equals to 11 into 25 upon 100. 25 ones, 25 fours. 11 by 4 gives me 2.75. So 2.5% of 110 would be 2.75. As it is decreased, I am going to represent it with minus sign. 110 minus 2.75 gives me 107.25. So there is a change of 7.25 upon initial value 100 into 100. So there is an increase of 7.25%. Option B. This can also be solved with a shortcut, guys. Look at this. I have initial value 100. It was increased by 10%. So the new value would be 110% of the old value. I hope everyone is clear with this step. Let me explain it here. I have a value A. It was increased by 10%. So the new value would be A plus 10% of A. A plus 10 by 100 into A. After taking LCM, 100A plus 10A by 100. So that is equals to 110 A upon 100. So I can say it as 110% of A. So if a value is increased by 10%, I can say that it is 110% of its initial value. So my initial value is 100 and it is increased by 10%. So my new value is going to be 110% of 100. This is the new value. And later it is decreased by 2.5%. So instead of finding 2.5% of this and subtracting that 2.5% value from this, I would directly multiply this value with 97.5%. This would ease my calculations. So I can say that 100 gets cancelled, 0 and 0 gets cancelled. So ultimately I am getting it to be 11 into 9.75. Okay. I can say that whatever might be the answer, it must be a multiple of 11. So what is the divisibility rule of 11? Divisibility rule of 7 says that, 11. Divisibility rule of 11 says that if in a number, let me suppose 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, this is my number, I would give indexes to each number. So this is going to be the first value, this is going to be the second value, this is going to be the third value, this is going to be the fourth value, this is going to be the fifth value, and this is going to be the sixth value. In order to find the divisibility rule of 11, the divisibility rule of 11 says that sum of digits at even places. What are even places, guys? 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. Minus sum of digits at odd place. So the difference between the sum of digits at even place and sum of digits at odd place is either 0 or a multiple of 11. Then that number is a multiple of 11, is divisible by 11. Okay, look at this number. Even sum of digits at even places is 2 plus 3 is 5 plus 1 is 6. Sum of digits at odd places is 3 plus 1 4 plus 2 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. So I can say that 123 and 123. So that is 1,23,123 is a multiple of 11 or it is divisible by 11. So applying the divisibility rule of 11 in this context, 11 into 9.75, that is multiple of 11. I am going to eliminate the options 1, 2 and 3. Sum of digits at odd places is 13 minus 7, that is 6. So it is not a multiple of 11. So option A is eliminated. Let us see option C. 6 plus 5 is 11. 11 minus 3 gives me 8. So 8 is not a multiple of 11. So option C is eliminated. Here 1 and 2. 5 minus 5 gives me 0. Okay. And I was left with two options here, either B or C. So in order to conclude, I would again go to the question. Look at the question, guys. The price of a tablet is first increased by 10%. Look at this numerical, it is 10%. And later it is decreased by 2.5%. So I can say that the amount that I have increased is more than the amount that I have decreased, right? At first I increased the value by 10% and later I decreased the final value by 2.5%. So ultimately the resultant value would definitely be greater than my initial value, right? So I can say that the percentage change would also be positive. So by this conclusion, I can say that option D is also eliminated. So ultimately option B would be my answer. This is how we solve by using divisibility rules, guys. So I would request each and every one of you to know all the divisibility rules of values 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 11. Please remember all the divisibility rules of these number, guys. Okay, this is how we solve it by theoretically, and this is how we apply the divisibility rule in this question. So I hope everyone is clear with this concept, guys. Let's go to the next question. The price of a pen is first increased by 15%, and later on the price was decreased by 20% due to reduction in sales. Find the net percentage change in the final price of a pen. Okay, guys, look at this question. As the options for in percentage, I would like to take my initial value to be 100. At first, it was increased by 15%. So 15% of 100 would be 15. As it is increased, I'm going to assign positive sign for it. 100 plus 15 gives me 115. And later it was decreased by 20%. 20% of 115 would be 23. As it is decreased, I would assign minus sign. So 115 minus 23 gives me 92. So there is a decrease in the value from initial to final. So the decrease is 8 upon initial value 100 into 100. So the net percentage change is decrease of 8%, that is minus 8%. It is option C. I hope everyone is clear. This can also be done with formula, guys. At first it is increased by 20%, so plus 20. Later it was decreased by 15%, so minus 15. Minus 20 into 15 upon 100. Sorry, guys. It was first increased by 15% and decreased by 20%. Okay. So 21s, 25s, 5 1s, 5 3s. So 15 minus 20 minus 3. That is 15 minus 23. That is equals to minus 8. So the resultant percentage change would be decrease of 8%. Let's go to the next question. The price of an item is successively increased by 20% and 30%, and then decreased by and then decreased successively by 15% and 25%. So in first case it is increased by A% and again A%, sorry, B%, A% and B%. So the value of A is 20 and the value of B is 30. 20 into 30 upon 100. 20 plus 30 is 50. 21s, 25s, 5 1s, 5 6 plus 6, that is equals to 56. So here I am going to assume my initial value. Here the options are in values, not in percentage. So I would assume my initial value to be 100x. So by successive increase in the percentage, my final value would definitely be increased by 56%, and my final value would be 156x. And this value is successively reduced by 15% and 25%. So minus 15 minus 25 plus 25 into 15 upon 100. Minus 15 minus 25 is equals to minus 40 plus 25 ones, 25 fours, 4 ones, 4 3.75 minus 3.75, that is equals to 36.25 decrease. 36.25% decrease. So the final value, that is 156x, is decreased by 36.25%. I would say that the final resultant value would be 36.25%. I would subtract this from 100. That gives me 75. 9 minus 6 is 3. 9 minus 3 is 6. That is 63.75%. So the final value of this would be 156 x by 100 into 63.75. This is the final value. And here it is given that the difference between the final price and the original price of an item is 17.60. This is the final value. Let me take another slide, guys. So the final value is 156x into 63.75 by 100. And initial value is 100x. And the difference between these two terms is 17.60. So 156 into 63.75. 6 5s are 30, 6 7s are 42, plus 3 is 45, 6 3s are 18, plus 4 is 22, 6 6 are 36, plus 2 is 38. 5 5s are 25, 5 7s are 35, plus 2, 37, 5 3s are 15, plus 3, 18, 5 6 are 30, plus 1, 31. 5 7 3 6 0, 3 5s are 15, 2 plus 7 is 9, plus 1 10, plus sorry guys, 0, 5 plus 5 is 10, 2 plus 7 is 9, plus 1 is 10, plus 5 is 15, 16, 17, 24, 5 6 8, 9 and 9, 9945.00, 99.45 divided by, as it is divided by 100, I would shift the decimal places 2 places to the left. So that would give me 99.45. And the difference x, and the difference between initial and final value is 0.55x. The value of 0.55x is 17.60. So the value of x would be 17.6 into 100 divided by 55. So that would be 176 into 10 divided by 55. 5 twos, 5 11s, 11 ones, 11 16s. So the value of x is equals to 16 into 2, 32. We are asked to find the value of 100x. 100x equals to 32 into 100. That is equals to 3200. This is a bit lengthy question, guys. This was asked in previous CGL mains. So the value of the original price of item would be 3200. I hope everyone is clear with this question. Let's go to the next one. Here we have another concept, guys. That is concept of expenditure equals to price into consumption. So in order to understand this formula, let me give you an example. Let us suppose I want to buy apples. So the cost of apples in the market is 30 rupees per kg. And I wanted to buy 10 kgs of apples. So I would have to spend 300 rupees on apples. So the amount that I spent on apples is expenditure. And the per kg value of apples is price. And how much I consumed is going to be my consumption. I consume 10 kgs of apples. This can be consumption or quantity, guys. Either of them is true. Okay, in order to arrive at 300, I would have to multiply the price with the quantity or consumption. So then only I can arrive at expenditure. So price multiplied with consumption gives me expenditure. I hope everyone is clear with this concept, guys. This is the most important and repeatedly asked concepts in the SSC CGL and RRB NTPC. So please pay attention to this concept, guys. We are going to directly solve the questions on this concept. Please remember the formula: expenditure is equals to price into consumption. So let's solve the first question on this concept. Here it is. The price of rice is increased by 25% and the consumption of family is decreased by 33.33%. Find the percentage change in expenditure. So, as discussed earlier, expenditure equals to price into consumption. Right. So, price is increased by 25%. So, initially it would be 100, and as it is increased by 25%, the final value would be 125. So, in ratio, I can write it as 4 is increased to 5. So, the value of price initially would be 4 and the value of price later after increasing 25% is 5, and the consumption is decreased by 33%. So consumption is decreased by 33%, that is 33.33%, that is equals to minus 33 1 by 3%. I can write this 33 1 by 3% as 1 by 3 as fraction. So out of 3 units initially there would be a reduction of 1 unit and finally the family would consume only 2 units. So the value of 3 after decreasing 33.33% would become 2. So this is going to be the initial value and this is going to be the final value. So the initial consumption would be 3 and the final consumption would be 2. So in order to get the expenditure, I would multiply these two. So 4 into 3 gives me 12 and 5 into 2 gives me 10. So the initial expenditure is 12 rupees and the final expenditure is 10 rupees. So what we were asked to find? We were asked to find the percentage change in expenditure. So what is the percentage change? Change is 2 upon initial value 12 into 100. 2 ones, 2 6. So 1 by 6 into 100 gives 16 2 by 3%. I have discussed the fraction and percentage values in video 1, guys. If anyone who did not watch the video 1, I would request you to watch the video 1 and then come into this video so that the concepts would be clear for you. I hope everyone is clear with this question, guys. This was asked in previous CGL mains, guys. Sorry, CGL pre. Let's go to next question. The price of an item is decreased by 20%. As a result, the customer can get 2 kg more of it for rupees 360. Find the original price per kg of item. Look at this question, guys. Expenditure equals to price into consumption. So the price is decreased by 20% minus 20%. So 20% would be 1 by 5 minus 1 by 5. So if the value of price initially is 5x rupees, it would decrease by 50% and finally it would become 4x rupees. So 5 minus 1 gives me 4. Initially it was supposed to be 5. As it was decreased by 20%, the final value would be 5 minus 1, 4. So the initial price would be 5x and the final price would be 4x. As the price decreased by 20%, a customer can buy 2 kg more for rupees 360. So let me suppose he is spending 360 rupees. With this 360 rupees, he can buy only y kgs. And with the same 360 rupees, with the decrease of price, he was now able to buy 2 kgs extra as the price got decreased. So I can say 360 equals to 5x into y and 360 equals to 4x into y plus 2. As LHS side is equal, I will equate the RHS side, that is 5x into y is equals to 4x into y plus 2. X gets cancelled from both sides. So 5y equals to 4y plus 8. So y equals to 8. So the value of consumption initially is 8 kgs and finally it would be 10 kgs. So from this I can find, we were asked to find original price, right? So I'm going to take the initial equation, that is 360 equals to 5x into 8. The value of y is 8. 8 ones, 845. So the price of initial value, that is 5x, is going to be 45 rupees. Here we are not supposed to find the value of x, guys. We are supposed to find the initial price value. And the initial price value is 5x. So here we are supposed to find the value of 5x, not the value of x, guys. Please remember. This can also be done in some other way, guys. Let me tell you. Here expenditure is constant. So when expenditure is constant, price and consumption would be inversely proportional. So what I mean by this is, if the ratio of price is x is to y, then the ratio of consumption would be y is to x. This is initial and this is final. When the value of expenditure is constant, price is inversely proportional to consumption. So if the ratio of price initial to final is x is to y, then the ratio of consumption would be reciprocal to that. That would be y is to x. So in this question, expenditure is constant. So ratio of price, that is initial to final, is 5 is to 4. And the ratio of consumption would be reverse of this. So the ratio of consumption would be 4 is to 5. Here it is given that as a result, customer can get 2 kg more of it. Initially, he was consuming 4 units and finally he was consuming 5 units. So the difference between initial and final consumption is 1 unit. And this 1 unit is given to be 2 kgs. So the value of 4 units would be 8 kgs and the value of 5 units would be 10 kgs. In this way, we can also find the value of consumption. And after substituting this, the value of 8 and 10 in this equation, we'll get the price. I hope everyone is clear. Let's go to the next question. A reduction of 20% price in bananas enables a customer to buy 6 more bananas for rupees 80. What is the reduced price of bananas per dozen? Here we are not supposed to find the price of one banana. We are supposed to find the price of 12 bananas. So I will teach you both the method, guys. Here, as expenditure is constant, price is inversely proportional to consumption. This is going to be initial and this is going to be final. Price and consumption. The reduction of 20% in price. So minus 20%, that is equals to minus 1 by 5. So the initial price, if the initial price is 5, the final price would be 4. And as expenditure is constant, price is inversely proportional to consumption. So the ratio of price is 5 is to 4 and the ratio of consumption would be 4 is to 5. So initially, if a family is consuming 4 units of bananas, after decrease in price, the family would consume 5 units of bananas. As the price decreased, the consumption is increased, or quantity, consumption or quantity. Quantity is increased. So the increase in quantity is 1 unit. So the equivalent value of 1 unit here in question is given by 6 bananas. So the value of 4 units would be 24 bananas and the value of 5 units would be 30 bananas. So here we are supposed to find the reduced price of bananas. So here we are supposed to find the final price and then multiply the final price with 12. So price is equals to expenditure upon quantity. That is equals to expenditure is 80 rupees and the final consumption of quantity is 30 bananas. So the price of each banana is 8 by 3. So we were asked to find the price of 12 bananas. So 12 into 8 by 3 is equals to 3 ones, 3 fours. 8 fours are 32. That is option C. So let me explain you with the traditional method, guys. This is method 2. This is method 1. In traditional method, expenditure is 80. As the percentage of price decreased by 20%, the initial, this is initial case, this is final case, this is expenditure, price, and then consumption. The initial price would be 5x and the final price would be 4x, and same expenditure in both the cases. So initially a family is buying Y bananas. After reduction in the cost, the family would get 6 more bananas that the family is buying initially. So as LHS is equal, I would equate the RHS. So 5x into Y equals to 4x into Y plus 6. So x gets cancelled on either side. 5y equals to 4y plus 24. Y equals to 24. So the value of y is 24 and the value of y plus 6 is 30. So from the second equation, as they asked me to find the reduced price, 80 equals to 4x into 30. So the value of 4x is 80 upon 30. This is the value of one banana, guys. And we are supposed to find the value of 12 bananas. So I would multiply 12 on both sides. 12 into 4x. That is equals to 12 into 80 upon 30. 0, 0 gets cancelled. 3 ones, 3 fours. So the price of 12 bananas is 32 rupees. That is option C. I hope everyone is clear with both the method, guys. This is for understanding, guys. And I would request each and every one of you to follow this method. Understand, try, and solve each and every problem that was discussed in this session with in this method, guys. You can understand the problem with this method, but this method would save time in your examinations. So I would request you to solve by this method. And even if you're comfortable with this method and if you think you can solve the problem with this method more quicker than this method, so you can follow either of them. This up to you, guys. Let's go to the next question. If the price of petrol is increased by 28%, by what percentage should the consumption be decreased in order to maintain the same expenditure on petrol? So here we have to maintain the same expenditure. So expenditure is constant. So price is inversely proportional to consumption. So initial and final. Price is increased by 28%. So initial price would be 100 and final price would be 128. So the consumption would be 128 is to 100 as they are inversely proportional. So the percentage is, sorry, the value of consumption is decreased by 28 units upon initial value 128 units into 100. That is equals to 2800 upon 128. 128 into 2 gives me 256 and I'll be left with 240. So 21 point something. In options, there is only one option with 21.88. So I will directly go with option B. Let's go to the next question. An increase in 25% in the price of onions enables a woman to buy 5 kgs less for rupees 200. The increased price of onions per kg is. So same type of question, guys. Here I'm solving with both the methods, method 1 and traditional method 2. An increase of 25% in price of onions enables a woman to buy 5 kgs less for rupees 200. Here expenditure is constant. So price is inversely proportional to consumption. Initial, final. And price is increased by 25%. 25% increase would be plus 1 by 4. So 4 parts would increase by 20% to become 5 parts. So the value of consumption would be 5:4. So there is a decrease of 1 unit. And the value of 1 unit is equivalent to 5 kgs. So the value of 5 kgs, 5 units would be 25 kgs. And the value of 4 units would be 20 kgs. And here I was asked to find the increased price, that is final price of the onions. So final quantity of onions is 20 kgs. So final price is equals to expenditure upon consumption or quantity. So 200 upon 20 gives me 10. So the option is C. Coming to traditional method, guys, expenditure is 200 in initial case, and in final case it is also 200. So this is expenditure, price into consumption. Initially the price is 4x. It was increased by 25% and it became 5x in the final. And initially the consumption or quantity is y kgs, and finally as the price increased she got less number of kgs, that is 5 kgs less. So the final quantity would be y minus 5. As LHS are equal, I am going to equate the RHS. So 4x into y equals to 5x into y minus 5. X gets cancelled on either sides. So 4y is equals to 5y minus 25. So the value of y is 25. Value of y is 25 and value of y minus 5 is 20. So I was asked to find the value of 5x. So the value of 5x is equals to 200 upon 20, that is equals to 10 rupees per kg. That is option C. Let's go to next question. The reduction of 20% in the price of rice enables a person to obtain 50 kg more for rupees 450. Find the original price of rice per kg. Take it as homework, guys. Solve this question and comment the answer in the comment section, guys. Let's go to the next question. Okay, here we are at the end of the session, guys. I hope everyone is clear with the two concepts that we have discussed in this session, guys. If you feel this session would level you up in your examinations, please like the video and share the video with your friends who feels maths is difficult, and also subscribe the channel, guys. In the next session we are going to discuss election concept of elections, and also concept of income equals to savings plus expenditure. So in the next video we are going to discuss problems on these two concepts, guys. So before seeing the next session, I would recommend each and every one of you to complete this session as well as the previous session in order to be strong and in order to be more clear in the upcoming section. So please like the video, share the video with your friends who feels maths is difficult, and also subscribe the channel, guys. Till the next video, stay safe, stay focused, and stay disciplined, guys. Thank you.